before we move on to the fighters and their teams on the stage, I'm going to bring up a man who we have a lot to thank for in terms of the route that Danny Jacobs has taken to this fight. When we signed Danny, we made the move to HBO Boxing. Peter Nelson believed in Danny Jacobs. He knew that he was a star, and he helped us and backed Danny Jacobs to get to this position. After 2 fights against Luis Arias and Maciej Sulecki, he's here now to challenge for the world title, and Peter has played a huge part in making that possible. Ladies and gentlemen, the head of boxing at HBO, Peter Nelson.
All right. I want to thank all the media for showing up and supporting this terrific event. I want to thank Madison Square Garden, Joel Fisher, his entire team, Eddie Hearn, folks at Matchroom USA doing a terrific job, Louis DiBella, my spiritual advisor. I want to thank Golden Boy and Miguel Cotto and Miguel Cotto Promotions, putting together such an excellent card top to bottom, from the Hardy-Vincent fight to the Machado-Evans fight to our main event, of course, in Sergiy Derevyanchenko. I want to thank these fighters and their teams, the trainers. We got the great Sergiy Roach here. We got Andre Rozier, and particularly the fighters in the main event for putting aside their stableship, their friendship with each other in order to fight on their path towards middleweight supremacy. We look forward to a great title fight on Saturday night. Our start time is 10 p.m. Eastern, and we look forward to seeing you all there. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Peter. Boxing throws up some surprises. Me and Lou DiBella co-promoting a show is probably one of them. I've known Lou probably since I was about 10 years old, and he hasn't changed much. He's still as fiery as ever. He's still as passionate as ever, and I think that's secretly, I don't hate to admit it, but that's one thing that I like about Lou DiBella. There's a lot of people in boxing who will say many a thing behind your back, and when they see you, give you the biggest smile and the biggest cuddle that you could possibly get, but not with Lou. If he's got something to tell you, he'll just tell you. But I much prefer that. And you know, when you shake your hands with Lou, sometimes you've got to check your fingers, but that, genuinely, you know you're in for the deal with Lou DiBella, and I think he is one of the few promoters left in the US. You know, someone who is a great talker, someone who has great passion for boxing, someone who knows how to maneuver fighters and get young fighters a chance to succeed in the game. And before I bring him up to talk about his young fighter, Patrick Day, and welcome to the card as well, I'm just going to talk about the growth of women's boxing a little bit, because we have a great World Championship fight on this card, now live on HBO as well, between Shelley Vincent and Heather Hardy for the WBO Featherweight Championship of the World on Saturday. I think the rise of women's boxing has been a great thing for the sport in general. I mean, my wife and my 2 daughters are there. Their favourite fighter is Katie Taylor. And it's great to see a new generation of fans, and obviously gender of fans as well, coming into the sport. But I keep saying, I keep stressing, it's not about male or female. It's about entertainment. It's about great fights. And if you can fight, I don't care where you're from, whether you're male or female, your ethnic background, it doesn't matter. It's about entertainment and providing entertainment for the fans. And if you watched Heather Hardy versus Shelley Vincent 1, you know that on Saturday night, this fight is going to be an absolute war and everybody's going to love it. It's very rare now for us to put on a show without a women's world championship fight. And I think that's a great comparison and great example of where the sport has come for the female side of that sport. But again, like I said, men, women, it's completely irrelevant. It's a product. If it's entertaining, people love to watch it. And these two will provide great entertainment for you on Saturday night. So without further ado, I'd like to bring up my good friend, as Peter calls him, Louis DiBella Esquire.
Thank you, Eddie. I heard Eddie say Madison Square Gardens a couple of times. I think he's so used to in America people saying Eddie Hearns that the S is stuck in his head. But I want to thank my friend Eddie Hearn without the S. And I'll say that it wasn't easy to make this fight. I want to acknowledge Keith Connolly, who is widely known as Danny's manager, not so widely known as Sergey's advisor, but he was instrumental in this, as well as Al Heyman, who's involved as Sergey's advisor. From the time we made the fight, which wasn't so easy to make, Eddie said, I want to make a show that from top to bottom is quality, that shows top prospects. I want to put together a great show. And this is his first fight that he has done at the Garden. And I give you kudos for putting together a great show. Thank you to the guys at the Garden, who I know forever. We haven't worked together in a long time, but we go back decades, and it's good to be here. Peter Nelson, thank you. Thank HBO. HBO will always have a big place in my heart. I spent a lot of years there. I'm really thrilled that this, to me, is such a great representative HBO show. This is a show that reflects the great legacy of HBO boxing, and it means a lot to me to be involved in the show. And thank you for making that on-the-fly, last-minute decision to televise Heather Hardy and Shelley Vincent, which I think it was a brave decision, considering women's boxing is not something over the years that HBO has particularly embraced, and I think it's a great thing. Even want to thank Golden Boy Promotions for giving Jan Dale Evans an opportunity to fight for a world title. This is a great champion. I saw this kid yesterday, and I was like, I've never seen a 130-pound fighter who's 6 feet tall and as big as this kid. And Jan Dale's not a big kid. He's moved up from featherweight. But Jan Dale is a guy that's taken on big challenges his whole life and always been the underdog. But thank you for giving an underdog an opportunity. We got a terrific undercard. I have some fighters on the card. There's a guy whose nickname is the Big Uzbek. His name is Jalalov. He was one of the best amateur heavyweights in the world. You'll notice him because he'll be the biggest guy in the room, 6'7", and he'll be on the undercard along with Butayev, one of the best welterweight prospects in the world. I'm thrilled to be able to showcase a guy who is the pride of Long Island, trained by a Long Island institution, Joe Higgins, one of our great amateur trainers, and as well as a pro trainer, but a guy that's done so much for so many kids on Long Island. Patrick has got 2 losses, and people look at 2 losses sometimes, and they think of a guy not being a prospect. This is one of the best 54-pound fighters in the world. Everybody in New York knows that. He's a vastly improved fighter. He knocked off 2 undefeated fighters in the last couple of years. He's been sparring world champions and being brought back from camp to camp because of the great work he gives them. He's also a great kid, a college graduate, a guy that has a great future both in and out of the ring, and it's my pleasure to bring up Patrick all day.
God bless everybody for being able to make it here healthy and safe. So it's an honor to be here, fighting on this card. I'm a big fan of both guys in the main event. I had the honor of training alongside both of them, and I'm just excited to be here, Sure, I have a goal in mind, and the fight is my priority. My fight is my priority, but it's just good to be here in the same space as these guys and just get to observe greatness. It's been really hard for me to get a fight lately, and I'm so thankful that I got one. I want to thank my opponent, Ayala, for stepping up and taking this fight last minute. Because, man, I never would imagine I'd be in this position. So many guys I feel like are avoiding me. And I never thought I would say that because I'm not a scary guy. There's nothing scary about me. I'm a gentleman. So who would have thought people would be running from me? But lately it's been so difficult to get a fight. And we got one, and unfortunately Willie Nelson broke his hand. So I prayed for a speedy recovery for him. But I'm just glad that I got the replacement, and I'm glad that I'm going to get to showcase my abilities. And it's going to be a fun night. I plan to do the best I can and showcase my talent. And then I look forward to just sitting in the crowd and watching these 2 guys right here get it on, along with the rest of the televised event. So it's going to be a great night. And I'm sure that the media, everyone's going to get a kick out of it as well. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Eddie, and HBO, and everybody for putting this event together. And God bless.
All right. First of all, I want to thank HBO Boxing, Peter Nelson, for getting us on this card last minute. Lou DiBella for always fighting for us and women. Eddie Hearn, for letting us be on this card. It's an honor to be on this card, especially, fighting under Danny Jacobs, who I always looked up to, and he's such an inspiration for me. I lost my mother to cancer, and to see how he fought back, and he's on top now. So just to be here at Madison Square Garden, that's how when I was a kid, I wanted to shoot hoops there. I wanted to be a pro basketball player, but as y'all can see, the size of me, that wasn't really gonna happen. So, you know, and to get to fight my rival here in the biggest stage of boxing, where all these greats been, you know, it's such a blessing, especially where I came from. Like Lou said, I was supposed to be dead. You know, I had a lot of people do a lot of things to me, and I don't trust much. But as for my bid, I woke up like this. So, by the talks of what Heather's people say, my imaginary steroids must have kicked full in gear. And, you know, I was a little boy yesterday, but today I'm a grown-ass little man. So you're going to have your hands full on Saturday. You know, it's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a war. And this time, I'm not leaving with my property, and I'm going to leave it short and sweet because the talk's all over. It's just time to perform. You know, thank you, everybody, for coming, for the people that support me, for the people that donated the tickets to the kids that get to come, the sponsors. Thank you. It's hard for women, and we work really hard. I know Heather sells tickets in like 3 different places and drives around too, everywhere. You know, thank you guys so much for letting us be in this situation right now, in this opportunity.
Thank you to the WBO, because this is, you know, it's been both these ladies' dream to fight for a world championship. They're going to get to fight for a world championship at Madison Square Garden for the WBO featherweight title.
Wow, for the first time, I'm actually speechless. I've never gotten such an incredible introduction. Thank you so much. Thank you, Eddie Hearn, for everything you had to say about women's boxing. Usually it's me and Shelly coming up, having to tell you guys how great we are, how good we fight, how exciting we can be even though we're women. So I actually feel like I could cry. Like my whole career has really been fighting for this. So I'm going to show everybody on Saturday night what I've been fighting for and what I've haven't shut up about getting us on TV. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Eddie. And thank you, Lou.
Thank you, DiBella. How everybody doing today? First off, I want to thank God for being in this position. I want to thank the fans, the audience, everybody who came out to see a show. Fighting a champion. Like he said, he's a mountain. I'm the one to get over that mountain. I don't come to play. I don't come to party. I come to win. It's a world title. Not many get this. Not many get this chance. I know a lot of guys, even in my gym, who don't get this chance to fight for a world title before they actually quit boxing or give up on themselves. Yeah, I came up the hard way. I definitely came up the hard way. But one thing about me is I'm always ready, and I'm always trying to go. You know what I'm saying? I'm always ready for war. Last year, late Luis Rosa gave me the biggest war, the hardest fight of my career, and I came out on top. It was one of the top fights of last year, Showtime. And you know, going into this fight, I'm carrying Rosa with me. You know, he's a Puerto Rican also, so it's kind of weird me fighting a Puerto Rican. But like I said, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank DiBella. I want to thank Miguel. You know, Golden Boy. Eddie Hearn. I want to thank everybody for coming together and actually throwing this show. And we're going to give you a fight. We're definitely going to give you a fight to see. Like I said, I ain't come to play. I didn't come to talk. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Madison Square Garden. Like they said earlier, the Mecca of boxing. This shows the commitment. On our part, Golden Boy always wanted to put on the best fights. But when you have several promoters on the same card and putting on their best fighters, that's when you know you're going to get great fights. Tune in Saturday night. You don't want to miss it. With Alberto Machado, we have a great partnership with Promociones Miguel Cotto, Hector, Brian, and of course Miguel. We joined forces a while back. There was not one champion in Puerto Rico, a place that's always had some of the greatest fighters in boxing, a history of boxing. Today there's 5 world champions. We're lucky to be working with 2, with Miguel, Tito Acosta, who just defended his title a couple weeks ago. Tito. And the undefeated WBA world champion, Alberto Machado. Alberto has a great team behind him with the legendary Freddie Roach. Every fight, he's getting better and better and better. Juan de Leon, thank you. We know Yandel Evans has nothing to lose and everything to win. He's a very dangerous opponent. When this fight was offered, I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I didn't like it. I didn't want it. My co-promoters, Machado, Freddie, Juan, said, let's do it. Madison Square Garden, we want bigger fights. Let's go out there and show the world what Alberto Machado is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated WBA world champion, Alberto Machado.
Good morning, bless all. I'm happy. I'm so excited for be here, come back against. So my last fight in 2014. This is my second fight here in the Mecca of boxing. Miguel Cotto is my promoter now. He has a lot of fight here in Madison Square Garden. For me, it's a pleasure be here and continue the history. Thank you, Miguel Cotto Promotions. Thank you, Golden Boy Promotion for the opportunity for put me in this show. Thank you, Peter Nelson, for the opportunity one more time. Joan de la Evans, thank you for taking the fight against me. DiBella, Hearn, thank you. I am happy. Can't wait for Saturday night for defending my title against all my Puerto Rican fans, all my Puerto Rican people. I am ready. I am happy. Thank you. Don't miss the fight Saturday. It's a great show, okay? Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Я рад присутствовать на этой пресс-конференции в этом знаменитом месте Madison Square Garden.
Hi, everybody. I'm very glad to be here on the Mecca of Boxing, Madison Square Garden.
Хочу сказать спасибо HBO, Лу DiBella, Кит Коннелли, что они организуют такой хороший вечер бокса.
I want to say big thanks to the Louis DiBella, Eddie Hearn, Peter Nelson for big organization event for me.
Хочу сказать спасибо Дэниелу Джейкобсу, что он согласился. У меня был очень серьезный кэмп, я очень серьезно готовился к этому бою, потому что на кону стоит очень многое, и это будет война, и пояс будет у меня.
Did a lot of work in the Colorado Springs, my camp and my team. We did a tremendous job and did a lot of spar. And I want to say to the Daniel Jacobs, thanks for accept this fight, for agree to fight with me. And I want to say just it's going to be a big war, and Bell will be with me.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks to everyone for being here today. Man, it's a good time for boxing. It's a damn good time for boxing. This platform that I have to prove that I am the best middleweight in the world is a very difficult task, and I thank Sergiy for accepting this challenge. And even though it's a bittersweet because, we've known each other for some time, sparring partners. Gary was a former trainer of mine. So to see these guys on the opposite side of the ring come fight night, it's going to be bittersweet, We all knew each other for a very, very long time, so it's almost as if we're like family. But this is why we do it, for the love of the sport, for you guys, for your pleasure, for your entertainment. You're not going to want to miss this fight. It's going to be a stellar fight, competitive fight. This guy has tremendous skills, and you guys know that I bring everything that I have inside that square ring. I fight with glory, I fight with guts, I fight with skill, and everything and all the above. I'm just excited to be back in Madison Square Garden. I want to thank all my team and everybody who made this night and this event possible. This is going to be a stellar event. I'm excited to have Patrick Day, who's a kid of, who actually started boxing because my man over here, his trainer, Joe Higgins, showed him a fight. And ever since he showed him that Daniel Jacobs fight here at Madison Square Garden for the Golden Gloves, he put on a pair of gloves and never took them off. So I'm excited for you, brother. Yes. But it's going to be a stellar card in general. I remember being in Coney Island, and I was, I do a little bit of commentating every now and then too, but, I was calling the Errol Spence card, and on the undercard, there was a female bout between these two women. And I had the privilege and the honor of calling that card, and it definitely lived up to this expectation. So you guys are not going to want to miss this card in general. Get here early if you can't make it, or if you can't, be here, watch it on HBO. You guys are definitely not going to want to miss this. I appreciate all my supporters. I appreciate all the fans of the sport of boxing for allowing us guys to have the life that we do when we put so much on the line. And at the end of the day, boxing is still thriving, and boxing is still the #1 sport in the world. So I thank you guys, and I thank every participant in this event today. Thank you.
Can you sit down in the middle?
I'll get confirmation today. Send it over to you.
Oh yeah, you right in the fucking middle of that. Get that one here, yeah. I know. Shut out. That's kind of how we fight it. Like, put it straight on.
Gentlemen.
I'm still here. Let's go get more. Great play. I get it. I'm not going to do anything, so I'm just going to drop it out.